Alright, we have made it to Dog Warder tier when it comes to these cards. With good True Kingston, and today we're going to be talking about the Iron Chain archetype. It's pretty much an engine. I don't know what the hell you would run this for, because all the cards besides one were ever played, and looking at them, I'm like, these things are garbage. Even nowadays, even at the time they were garbage, it was just, there weren't really better options at the time for the one that was used. Well, let's just start from the beginning. So the first piece of ass moisture of this archetype is Iron Chain Blaster. Literally all this thing does is you can send an Iron Chain monster you control to the grave to inflict 800 damage to your opponent. So instead of just activating Ukazi or something like that, you can use Rhoda, because it's a warrior for some reason, you can use Rhoda to search this thing. I don't know why the fuck you would waste your one Rhoda on it, but you can Rhoda this thing, have to summon it, then get another Iron Chain monster, or send itself to the grave to do 800 damage. Why would you do that? Thing is garbage, bruh. Like, this is the problem with this deck. They have like two different gimmicks, and those gimmicks are both terrible. It's shitty burn damage and milling, and we'll get to the rest of them later. But Blaster, I think, is probably the worst card in the deck. The next card is Iron Chain Coil, which is a level 3 machine tuner monster. But what this one does is once per turn, you can select one Iron Chain monster you control. You have it gain 300 attack and defense as long as this card is face up on the field.
Brother, what's that?
Okay, I correct that. This is the worst card. The only reason I could technically say this is better is they do have a synchro monster and this is a tuner, but you don't need it, so card is ass. It's literally a mediocre attack boost only while it's on the field. I don't get it, what they were going for. Like, they went from burn effect to mill to whatever the hell this is about, stat boosting. Alright, the next card is the card probably with the beefiest effect in terms of how long the effect actually is. It's Iron Chain Repairman, which is a level 4 warrior with 1600 attack, 1200 defense. What this card does is when it destroys a monster by battle and sends it to the grave, you do 300 damage to your opponent. Then once per turn, you can special summon level 4 lower Iron Chain monster from the grave except Repairman. He can't attack the turn you activate this effect.
Finally, some good fucking tape.
This guy's actually pretty good. They gave him basically 3 effects, and I think they're all relatively good. Some extra burn damage isn't nothing crazy, but it does apply to the gimmick of the deck, so I'm not mad at that. But also, being able to summon an Iron Chain from the grave lets you set up plays. It actually has a proactive effect, and the downside doesn't matter. So I guess it technically has 2 effects. The downside doesn't really do anything though. They can't attack this turn. Most likely, you pretty much it's make you decide between 1 or 2 effects, but you can either choose to get some burn in, or you can tag him out and go into their synchro or whatever synchro you need to. But easily the best card in the deck in my opinion. Well, the next card is Iron Chain Snake, and this is the last main deck monster they have. Iron Chain Snake is a level 3 reptile monster with 800 attack, 1200 defense. And what it does is during the main phase, you can equip it to a face-up monster your opponent controls, and that monster loses 800 attack and defense. And when it's destroyed by battle and sent to the grave, the controller sends cards equal to the level of the monster from the top of their deck to the grave. I think overall this is a really unique card. It's not a union monster or anything like that, but it's not a good card obviously. It's a very slow way of setting up the deck's game plan. But okay, they get a level 8 monster on the field, you equip it to them, and then they get to mill 8. I'm like, hey, that sounds okay, like for the deck's game plan, which is kind of like burn / deck out. But the card's garbage, and I don't know why the hell it's a reptile. Like, I get it, it's a snake, but why would they make like some of them? I don't know. Their typings are all over the place. But snake, I want to say it's the worst overall, but at least it goes with the deck's gimmick, so I have to give it that over Coil. Alright, and the one spell card they have is Poison Chain, and all it does is during the end phase of your turn, if you didn't attack, your opponent has to send cards from the top of their deck to the grave equal to the amount of Iron Chain monsters you control. So, when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh nowadays, it used to be 5 was the max, and now 6 is the max with the extra monster zone, which a mill 6 wouldn't be too bad against a lot of decks. Well, not a lot of decks, let me say that, because we're going to have to get to that at the end of what's the problem with this deck. But going towards its goal, it kind of goes against the deck's idea, which I think this is the worst card. Because you got a repairman that wants to attack, you got coil boosting attack, and stuff like that. And then you get to this thing, and this thing is trying to prevent you from attacking. So it's like, what the fuck? Like, you could tell Konami was just feeling packed for this damn archetype. I don't even remember this thing in the anime. And I watched a decent amount of 5Ds, so I don't know. But we're gonna get to the last card. And the big bad, the boss of the deck, Iron Chain Dragon, a level 6 synchro monster that just needs a tuner and non-tuner, so it's very generic. It's an old card, but what it does is you remove from play all Iron Chain monsters from the grave that have this card gain 200 attack for each card removed until the end phase. And when it inflicts battle damage to your opponent, you can send the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck to the grave. Now, I'm not even going to go into the downsides of Iron Chain Dragon, because it's easily the best card in the deck, besides Repairman, I guess, especially with Link monsters existing now. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about the deck as a whole and why it sucks. You see how Iron Chain Dragon has a stat boost effect? You see how Iron Chain Coil has a stat boost effect? And then you got Poison Chain going around, doing the opposite of not attacking. What are we boosting stats for if we're not attacking? Like, we're doing mediocre bits of burn damage from time to time. We're doing like 300 burn, maybe 800 on a good day. We're doing milling, which could be good. We can get a decent amount of milling in, but milling is so bad now in Yu-Gi-Oh! Because so many decks have so many graveyard effects, the spells, the traps, and the monsters be having spell effects. So all you're doing is send your opponent's graveyard up for free most of the time. Like, what happens when you mill a tier monster? You're gonna mill a tier monster on top of their deck, they're gonna go ape shit on you, and then you're just gonna get absolutely destroyed. Even at the time, this stuff wasn't really good, but I could let it slide at least. I think personally, Iron Chain's cool, but I don't think it's good. I think it's a very cool archetype. I like the idea of it. They were pretty unique as a whole with their 2 gimmicks, but they need some retrains and they need some new support. I don't think they're ever gonna get it. And I don't think they were ever popular enough. I think they never will be. But you know, to each their own. But I'm going to end this here. Let me know another archetype or a small engine that you think I should go over, or another card. But that's going to be it for me. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. But it's True Kingston, and I'm out.